and just all the other stuff that youngsters talk about. And one of the key topics that we asked them to discuss was to think about what advice would they give to mums and dads. Because mums and dads will talk about, what do I do? But sometimes we just don't always listen to youngsters themselves. So this is a conversation between Alicia and Melissa, talking about what they think, what she thinks in particular, mums, dads, carers, and others should know about treating individuals who have Alstrom. Okay, over to Catherine to play the film. Thank you.
This is an interview with Alicia, who is a member of a group called the CSS. We're a group made up of women and girls from the ages of 14 to 18 who all have Alstrom syndrome. My name's Melissa, and I help facilitate the group. I am an adult living with Alstrom syndrome. I'm also a registered social worker, and I'm training to be a counsellor. The CSS group's aims are to kind of make people feel a bit more included, to give them a voice. So in the past, we've reviewed products, we've spoken about things such as independent living, guide dogs, makeup, and it's to develop that sense of community, to develop that sense of shared lived experience. So when I was growing up, I felt very alone with I felt very alone. I didn't know I had Alstrom's, but I felt very alone, and I would have loved to have had a group like this. So I'm just going to ask Alicia to introduce herself and just tell us quickly a few little things about herself.
Hi, my name's Alicia.
And how old are you, Alicia?
17.
And are you at college or school?
College.
Our first question is, what would you tell a young person who's just been diagnosed with Alstrom syndrome? What would you tell them firstly about the syndrome?
Alstrom syndrome is ultra rare, and it's a complex syndrome, and there's medications to slow the syndrome down, but healthy diet and exercise really helps the syndrome as well.
What would your 3 top tips be for somebody, a young person who's living with Alstrom syndrome?
To have lots of people to support them.
What do you think is important about having lots of people to support you?
Because Alstrom syndrome some days you can have bad days, some days you can have good days. So it's good to have lots of people around you that can support you, so you can talk to.
Did you think talking about how you feel, do you think that's important, being able to do that?
Yes.
What's important about sharing your feelings?
It makes you feel better at the end when you share your feelings with somebody. But you carry them around with you if you don't talk about them.
And if you do carry it around and you don't share it, how does that make you feel?
They start to build up, and then explode.
Right,
you get really upset at the end, and you carry your feelings all day, and then they just build up, which is not a really good idea.
Definitely not. And who do you talk to when you're starting to feel like that? Who can you talk to?
My mum and dad, college, Alstrom Syndrome UK, and my mobility specialist and my VI teacher.
So you've got lots of people that you can share your feelings with. That's really good. So number 1 is make sure you speak about your feelings so that you don't get overwhelmed. What's your second top tip?
To get a special box that has Monday to Friday on it, so you don't always forget when you've had your medication. Say if you ask your mum or your mum asks you and you don't remember, you can always check in the box on it. If it says Monday to Friday, and if the box is not empty, that means you haven't had it. And if the little box is empty, that means you've had it.
Oh, that's really
cool. Helps. That really helps as well.
Yeah. So who puts that? Does your mum put the tablets in at the start of the week?
Yes, we do it. We do it all at the start of the week, and then we know that the box is full. So then it's you don't have to worry about it then. that your box
Yeah.
is empty.
Oh, you just go through the days and take what's in. Oh, that's really clever. Second top tip is, well, Alicia's top tip, to be fair, because I think they're amazing. They're all amazing. I'll be using all of these personally. Is keep on top of your medication, and there are lots of different aids to help you keep them in order. I mean, you've got your tablet box, haven't you, with the days of the week on?
Yes.
What would your third top tip be?
To get a Fitbit so it can keep you motivated. A Fitbit is like a watch that you wear, and you have to have an app on your phone. You have to download the app on your phone, and
Yeah.
you have to put your email and numbers in. That somebody can help you with all that. And
Yeah.
basically, it's like counting your steps. So every time you walk, it counts all your steps and your heart rate. And some of them do blood pressure, some of them don't. And it's splash proof. It's not waterproof.
So how does this keep you motivated?
So if you have it on, like, you know that every time when you open that and you see at the end of the day how many steps you've done, how many times you've climbed the stairs, how many times you've come down, how many calories you burned, it just makes you happy at the end of the day. Then if you just do like, say, like 100 steps a day, then you can build it up, and that helps as well.
Oh, that's cool. So you can have some goals that you can achieve.
Yes.
Ah, so is that how you started with yours, like building it up, or did you just jump straight in?
Well, if you jump straight in, then you just feel like, why should I do exercise? Like it all comes on a toll. Then if you do if you build it up like slowly, then it's easier. Then you always feel like, oh, next time I want to do that again.
So do you have your Fitbit on every day then, or do you just have it on some days?
No, I have it on every day, and then when the battery gets low, I put it on charge, and then I put it back on after it's done charging. Make sure you're keeping hydrated as well. Like, always keep water when you're exercising.
Water's such an important drink to have. I love water.
I mean, yes, it can get boring, but it's really good for you.
So just to recap, our top tips so far are: make sure you have someone to talk to so you don't feel overwhelmed with your feelings. Make sure you keep on top of your medication. So again, you don't feel overwhelmed and you feel in control of that medication. Make sure you have kind of, I suppose you'd say, like aids and accessories to help make life easier and to help motivate you into starting doing exercise. And our fourth top tip is always make sure you keep healthy and hydrated. So keep an eye on, what snacks you're having, maybe what you eating and drinking. I think you've talked about that, Alicia, with your love of cooking and making cups of tea. You always are super aware of what fuel, I guess, you're putting in your body and how healthy that is. What advice would you give to a parent or caregiver to help support their child with Alström syndrome?
Being honest with them, caring, and being there for them.
What do you think could be some ways that parents or caregivers can show that they're there for their child? What are some things they can do?
Like, maybe have a once a week chat with them, like how things are going on with their Alström syndrome or college or school, but not like a family chat, like a private chat.
Just with that person, without their siblings.
Yes, because that makes them feel better sometimes.
Do you think it's good for parents to ask, like, if anything's upsetting you or making you angry? Do you think it's important they ask that question?
Yes, they can ask, but if they say that they don't want to talk about it, give them some space and some time, and they'll come and tell you.
Yeah. So it's like letting your child know that you're available for them to talk to.
Yes.
When they need to. Okay. And do you think it's important for parents or caregivers to like explain to their child what Alström syndrome is?
Yes.
What is important about that?
So, like, if they want to go to like a residential college, or if they're going starting high school for the first time, their mum and dad always can't come with them all the time, and so they need to know about Alström syndrome. So then they know what healthy snacks and healthy dinners to pick up school or college.
So the child can make like healthier life decisions. And do you think they should talk to their child about all the parts of Alström syndrome? Like how they tell us that certain things can happen to us because we have Alström syndrome, and you might not get all of them, you might get some of them. Do you think parents should be honest and say all of that to their children, or what do you think?
I think they should be honest, and they should say to them, don't worry about it. It could happen or it could not happen. We're not really that sure. Everybody's different. Not everybody's the same. They should tell them that we're there for you if you need us.
But let's say, what would your first top tip for a parent be?
To make sure their teachers and their one-to-one knows about Alström syndrome.
So the people who are working with that child, like to let them, like you were saying about your mobility officer and your VI teacher. So was it important for them to understand what Alström's was?
Yes. Also, they need to make sure that they have contacts, so like they can keep in touch with each other.
So they all have the right phone numbers and emails, so they can just get in touch.
Yes.
Right, brilliant. So I think that's a really good. I think that's 2 tips actually, isn't it? Two in one there. So our first tip is for parents to make schools, other healthcare professionals, and other people working with their children aware of what Alström syndrome is. And then second top tip is that parents, caregivers, and would you say it's important for you to have the phone numbers as well, Alicia, or do you just go to your parents to get those numbers?
No, I think it's important for you to have the numbers, so then you know what days are coming into school or college, you know what you're doing with them, you know what times are coming.
Yeah, I think that's so. So our second tip is kind of for you, for the child, the parent, everyone to be connected and to have those really important emails and phone numbers, so you can all keep in the link. And I think that will help, like Alicia's saying, I think that helps for, being able to, there's a lot with Alström syndrome you can't control, but I think...
No, there's not, but you can't control everything, but you can control some things.
Yeah, and how does it make you feel, Alicia, having control of what you do have control of?
Well, it makes you empowered, and it makes you feel like you're growing up, like into the adult world. Whether you're just starting to be a teenager, or whether you're just going into the adult world.
Yeah, because it's your body and it's your life, isn't it? So you want to have some say in that, don't you? And
yeah, you want to have your own control of your own body.
From what you're saying as well, what you've said so far, Alicia, it sounds like your family's there to support you, but actually what you've said just then, they actually help empower you to be able to do things for yourself. And from chatting to you, you're very empowered and very independent.
You don't want to be wrapped in cotton wool all the time.
Why do you think it's important not to be wrapped in cotton wool all the time?
Because you get spoilt a bit too much, and then you don't have control of your body, and you don't have in control of your life. Then you want some space. So the parents have to make sure they're breaking the barrier. So they have a barrier of being there for them, but then barrier being giving them independence.
And how does it make you feel, or how do you think it would make you feel if you were wrapped up in cotton wool and you didn't have that independence?
I think it made me feel frustrated and annoyed and angry all the time.
Yeah. Why do you think you'd feel those things?
Because you want your own personal space, you want your own control of your body, you want to know, all these things that are happening to you and why they're happening.
Yeah, and like you
want
said,
to be able to make decisions as well.
And make decisions about what happens to you in your own life.
Yes.
Have you had more experience of doing that the older you've got?
Yes. I mean, it can be hard for parents because they're always saying like, you're a baby, but they do realize, it takes time. They do realize that, their child is growing up now into the teenage world and the adult world. So it can be a bit, strange for the parents and strange for the child. It can be sometimes a bit upsetting that their child is growing up.
They want to make sure you're safe, don't they? So it can be hard. But I think, like you say, Alicia, it's talking about it and everybody sort of sharing how they feel is really important, isn't it? Because
Some parents can be overprotecting, but that can just be because they don't want you, like, they don't want you to feel like, different when you have Alston syndrome. It just makes you special as everybody else. That's the reason why they can sometimes wrap you in cotton wool.
Yeah, so you're saying, and you'll say if I'm saying it wrong, you're sort of saying actually sometimes it's not because you've got Alstrom syndrome, it's sometimes just because you're their child, like their baby, that they want the best for you. I'm with you. So our first top tip is for parents and caregivers to educate educational professionals, healthcare professionals, people working with their child. Our second one is that both parents and caregivers, medical, educational, all the professionals and the child have those really important emails and phone numbers so they can all be in contact. And your final top tip is that parents try and empower their children by not wrapping them up in cotton wool, even though you accept and agree that it's hard for parents sometimes to let go. Do you think having Alstrom syndrome has stopped you doing or achieving anything that you've wanted to do or achieve?
No, you should still do everything that you used to do without Alstrom. Like, you should still go on with your life like as any of your other siblings do.
Whilst you're getting older, have you had new goals and new things that you want to achieve? Have you set goals and things for yourself?
Yes, you always have goals all the time, but you should always make small goals, like stepping stones. Make small goals, and then you start to reach to the big goal in the end.
So breaking it up so it's a bit smaller, it's more achievable, isn't it?
Yes.
Brilliant. And when you're trying to achieve these goals, do you sometimes need the help of, say, like your mobility officer or your VI teacher, or do you always just do them on your own?
No, I need a bit of support and help. I mean, we have to go around the goal, so like not you might have to change the goal a little bit to adapt to what your needs are. So that's what you have to think about, really. Not to change the goal, to adapt the goal to what your needs are.
That's really good advice. So I think your first top tip, and you can say if you don't agree with me, it would be keep being the person that you are, because Alstrom's doesn't change that. It just means sometimes you have to change how you achieve something, but it doesn't change what you can achieve. And then sort of your second top tip is sometimes achieving the goal, you have to reach out to other professionals to think of a way around the goal so that you can achieve it in the way that you want to. So it's, again, I think this has run through like all of our different sections that Alicia has been actually ask people, speak out, don't hold your feelings in.
Don't let them do it for you. You should say like which bit you want to do first.
So you're in control of how you achieve it.
Yes. And if you want to do it slow or fast, you should tell them how you feel about it. And you should tell them if this is good, if this is working, if this is not working.
Brilliant. And now I think that's some really good advice there, Alicia. Do you have any final comments to say to both children and parents or caregivers of someone with Alstrom? Do you have like a final message that you want to share?
Just stay strong and you'll get through it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alicia. That's been really interesting.
Can you hear me, Melissa?
Yeah, I can, Anne.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I know it was recorded as part of a webinar. I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about, setting the group up and why you did it.
Yeah, so the initial reason behind the group, me and another patient with Alstrom were reflecting on childhood experiences and how sometimes with a disability you can feel like a bit of an outsider. So we sort of wrote a bit of a report about isolation and the importance of belonging. So that was kind of our rationale behind the group. We wanted to provide people with all young people with Alstrom's a platform, a group of belonging, of somewhere that they could go just to talk about their experiences, really. Just talk about their experiences and have a place where you didn't have to unpack everything. Somebody else just understood all those things that you were going through, and it's become a brilliant tool for reviewing different products, how accessible they are, and it's really helped the girls in our group develop their confidence. They've all said that actually they do have a sense of belonging, and they do really feel heard and listened to in the group. And in the new year, we're really excited that we're going to be developing the group and maybe having some boys in there as well, because we want all young people to feel like they've got a safe place to talk about things. So it's been really, really amazing for me to be part of the group. I've got so many tips and so many kind of life hacks just from listening to the girls of how they do things. And I think, sometimes one of them will have bought a certain product and they'll tell us all about it. So it really adds to our understanding actually of accessibility in kind of like the real world.
Perfect. And I know we've just had a message from somebody saying, can they talk to you kind of on a one-to-one basis? Are you happy for people to email you and find out more information?
Yeah, no, of course, that's absolutely fine. To drop me an email, I can give you a bit more information about what we do in the group is absolutely fine.
Lovely. And I know you've said before, whilst you've been working with the group, I know it was a kind of slow build up and things, but it was really to try and address and think about the isolation young people, and in this case it's girls, but how isolated people can get as they lose their sight, as they lose their hearing. They might not ever meet anybody with Alstrom. So it's to really, form a bit of a bond for people who with some shared common experiences.
Yeah.
And it's a delight to listen to. Thank you.
No, it's been amazing to facilitate that group, and from my own friendships of other people with Alstrom's, actually it's been nice, because I think sometimes we can think I'm the only, because it's super rare, we can think I'm the only one going through this. So actually having that touchstone of someone saying, actually, yeah, I've been through that too and I understand, it does so much for positive well-being. It really does.
Yeah. And something that stuck with me from Alicia was, she says you can't control everything, and even some of us grown-ups think we can. So it's really nice to kind of hear people, actually young people, with that kind of insight and wisdom into, well, actually we can't control everything. So fabulous, brilliant. Thank you so much, and keep up the great work, really. So we will share your email with people if you're happy to do so, or we'll ask people to get in touch with Catherine first, because I know at the moment you're inundated with work. So we'll ask people to get in touch with Catherine first if that suits you.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thanks, Anne.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Melissa.
Lovely. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. And just to kind of finish, I do think the voices of young people are so vital. So Alicia spoke many words of wisdom, so I just felt really privileged to take part in that.
Okay, thank you. And Catherine posted her email into the chat box too. Okay, thank you. I wonder if Laura's done a graphic of that at the moment. I wonder if Catherine can tell me if there's a graphic done of that one.
Let me have a look.
Thank you. Well, Laura's just got.
Oh, here we go. Let's have a
Okay.
look. So if I do spotlight for everyone, we should be able to have a look. There we go.
Okay, so Laura's initial graphic has got be inspired, be you, be together, 2022 at the top of it. And the one thing she's captured, which I think will resonate with all of us, is she's got a person wrapped in cotton wool that says, "Don't wrap me in cotton wool." She's got a little indication with some written information about the top tips, and particularly around people who are newly diagnosed, and with a bigger banner that says a young person's perspective of Alström syndrome, and kind of blanked out picture of Alicia and Melissa. So she's also drawn a lovely picture of Culture Sparkle Sisters. So that's fab, and I'm sure the Culture Sparkle Sisters will love that one. So thank you for that.